Hi, I'm Coach MK, founder of the Fitness Protection Program. I'm a run coach, not a life coach. We're never really talking about the running. Running is the tool. It's the conduit we use to examine the world we live in, as well as its impact on our own lives and the lives of the people around us. How we react to certain people and to certain stories tells us a lot about how we view ourselves. I'm committed to the thoughtful, intentional exploration of the importance of running so that no one discounts their own badassery, ever. Final note, this podcast is geared towards every runner who won't lose their home, livelihood, or health insurance if they show up to the corral with a hangover. Not that I'm encouraging you to do that, just saying. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Fitness Protection Podcast. Hi guys, I'm so sorry I am late. Uranus is still in retrograde. That's all I've got. Everything is going wrong and nothing is working tonight, and I apologize for that. I don't even know if we're going to be able to successfully convert this into a podcast. I couldn't get the podcasting equipment to work. So, I'm doing the best I can. Chrissy, if you're watching, I am recording this with my camera on my desktop. And hoping for the best when it comes to sound quality. I sincerely apologize for the pain this is obviously going to be, or the extra work. If you are not able to use the sound file, do not worry about it. This is completely my bad. For those of you just joining, hi, I'm Coach MK. I'm the founder of the Fitness Protection Program. I developed all of the plans and the programming that people are executing in the programs like Maintain, which was designed for people who have a modicum of fitness that they wanted to maintain, Rebuild for folks who've had to take a break of 6 months or longer from running and want to re-engage in that awesome little running habit, which is really hard to do. And soon to be opening Runner Interrupted, a support program to keep runners who are currently not running or not able to run for whatever reason tethered to the running community in a way that will make it easier to rebuild and get them back to a place where they have something that they will in fact want to maintain. We want to be the best support you can possibly have on every stage of your running journey. And hopefully we'll be rolling more of that out when I have all the support I need just to get through the month of fucking August. Yay! For those of y'all who didn't know, when I say one thing after another's going wrong, I've got a kid downstairs who's been sick for 3 days and only wants to watch grown-up girl movies, specifically movies with kissing. But, from a mom's perspective, I'm like, things I don't want include sex or drugs or violence, and she's also scared of everything. So like Jumanji, no. Live action, Tarzan, no. You'd be surprised what the no's add up really, really quickly. And it's been fun. We have torn through the first 10 minutes of all kinds of movies before finding something to settle on. And so far we watched 13 going on 30 and we're pitch perfect and we might try Back to the Future next. Thank you for everyone who gave us those really cool suggestions on Facebook page. It's been amazingly helpful. We don't have a whole lot to do in here tonight. There aren't that many questions. I should be able to move through them pretty quickly. And then what we're going to do, just for funsies, because Coach Sarah is still on vacation, we're going to go to my email inbox. It's just a swamp and a disaster. But there are 2 emails that I've been meaning to get back to this week and have not been able to, because wouldn't you know, we did not plan renovations on our house, but we are going to get a brand new hardwood floor thanks to a leak that happened while I was in the hospital getting surgery and my family was on vacation. So right now we have a sick kid, no floor downstairs, pieces that are falling from the floor through the ceiling into the laundry room and the kids' bedrooms, and part of the ceiling in the downstairs bathroom is now ready to collapse with the hardwood floor up. I'm pretty sure they're going to come back and tell us that the part of the ceiling where the leak happened has asbestos underneath it. And instead of being, fine for 3 days, like we were recently told, I was like, wait, how did this go from you're going to have to move out for a month to you're only going to have to go to the mountains for a long weekend? The biggest complication will be doing this over Labor Day. Well, we're right back to y'all going to have to move out for a month again. Yay. So with that, if you don't have any of that going on and you don't have lice, then you are having a better day than me. And we don't have lice, and I'm clinging to that. Could things get worse? Yes, they could. We could all have lice. I don't have lice. That tumor was not cancerous. We're winning at life. Although I'm having to work really hard each day to make sure I remember that things can keep falling on the floor and ending up in my toddler's mouth. Yay. Oh, don't get me started on the lead content of the newspapers, babe. Just don't. Every time we see something on our kids' mouths, we're just like, take that out. Because the floor is exposed. They can't cover it until the wood has settled and it's all settling in the rooms downstairs. I'll put pictures up. It's just a disaster zone. There are blankets literally taped to the floor, furniture shoved into the corners, and the newspapers from 1937 were very interesting to read, but I digress. It's just that we're trying to find the silver lining. I think I found the silver lining, like, oh, look at this really amazing article about the last time we tried to restore relations with France. And then I see my daughter, my youngest daughter, munching on another piece of newspaper that she found somewhere else on the floor. And I'm just like, no, okay, no, this isn't fun. This is actually not fun at all. Yay. Anyway, I miss you, Coach Sarah. This is not because you're gone. All this is this is actually my respite for the day, because I've been downstairs on a couch all day long. Well, for 3 days. I've gone for my long run, come back, and then sat with my kid. And not that this is my therapy session. I'm just saying I'm ready to talk to grown-ups, and I'm ready to not have conversations that are above my pay grade. And I can do that here. There is no pay grade so high I can DK a conversation as a parent. Oh, it's fun. I've heard little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems, and been like, hee for a while. But now I'm like, oh, I get that now. Thank you. I get that now. And I'm not ready, and I'm not qualified. Better than we were modeling the kitchen. And we just found out that my husband is probably going to have to go to Southeast Asia for 2 weeks. And that is probably going to coincide with the 2 weeks minimum that we have to, that's going to coincide with the period where we have to move out of our house for the floors. That's going to be amazing. Amazing. I can't wait. We might join you, Alex. Kuala Lumpur is fantastic this time of year. Moving on to the questions. If you have questions about running or that are in some way peripherally connected to running, go ahead and toss them in to the Google Doc. I might not see it though, because we're having that kind of a day. If I miss you, please know it is not intentional. I just can't win for losing today. But we're going to try one way or another. Starting with the questions over in Rebuild. Yay. What is the physiological benefit of the triple decker? If I'd rather do an easy effort, keeping my heart rate on 140 instead on some of those days, is that okay? First of all, yes. I've used the term Batna a lot, and I understand how that can feel out of context or inappropriate. Batna stands for the best alternative to a negotiating agreement. And I love negotiations. One of my favorite classes that I took in one of my previous roles. It was a really cool, it's strategic thinking. And so I really loved that course as well at Wharton. And the reason that I like it so much is this whole concept of a Batna. I have walked out of situations before where people were like thinking that we were going to negotiate in whatever traditional paradigm they learned when they watched the movie Wall Street. And it's like, no, actually, I can walk away from that thing you just threw down. Yep. No, that's not enough. No, that's fine. I'm good to walk away. And they're all like, you're crazy. And I'm like, yeah, you're stupid. You can't do math. I'm like, no, I have a Batna. If you ever want to win a negotiation, it's like, I don't have to take what you give. It's not about that. It's about knowing, what do I need to get? So it comes back to another point you're going to hear me say a lot. What do I need to get? If it's clear that I'm not going to get it from you, and I've got pretty much what I need here, then that best alternative to a negotiating agreement means I don't have to take whatever crap you throw at me. If, like, I don't have to accept your terms, right? I don't have to come to an agreement with anyone who I decide to negotiate with. And where that matters in running is that every day when you get out of bed, you are negotiating with yourself on some level as to whether or not to do this workout, whether or not to do the workout as written, whether or not to sleep a little more or do a little less. There's always negotiating going on in any decision that you make throughout your life. And if you wake up on a day like this and you see a triple decker stride sandwich, which in fact is take the workout and you throw in 6 sets of 3 or 4 or 6 sets of strides. If I quote this incorrectly, do not come at me. I'm not looking at Training Peaks. I'm doing my job right now. To take the workout, it's easy effort all the way through and divide it into thirds. And at the top of each segment, you're going to throw in a set of strides. So it's 4 minutes of strides at the end of the first third and at the end of the second third. So with that in mind, that is a triple decker stride sandwich. The physiological benefit there is you get to move your legs a little faster. That's it. I get what you were doing in Rebuild is some of the hardest work you will ever do. People have it in their mind, like, I want to open up. I feel good. I want to open up and go faster. And I'm like, first of all, stop using the elite phrase with me. Open up. Just don't do it, because it's not going to lead anywhere good. It's good, compelling logic that will lead to a really bad choice. So I like to avoid that phrase with all of my runners as much as possible. Oh, yes, opening up does feel good and it feels wonderful. And a stride sandwich gives you, or the strides give you the opportunity to do that. Strides are the same as accelerators. Effectively, it's 20 seconds, roughly. Most of these, the ones that I assign, are 20-40. So 20 seconds. You start at easy effort pace. That's a jog. And then you slowly increase your pace up to, but no further than 10K or 5K pace. This is not a sprint. You hold 10K or 5K pace, depending on whatever is written in your training peaks, for 3 or 4 seconds. And then you slowly decelerate back down to a jog. There are several things happening, and all of it is happening in that deceleration. This is neurological stimulus that leads to improved speed later. It's a neurological stimulus that leads to better form at faster paces later. This has faster is not better. Controlled is better. This is why. If you never go faster than half marathon pace, but you manage to control the acceleration to get there and the deceleration out back down to a jog, you are getting what you need from that workout. So that is the physiological benefit of a stride sandwich. Mentally, it gives you the opportunity to open up, even though y'all don't know what that word means. No, again, love you, no offense. That can be a question that we discuss in the next podcast or in next week's Ask the Coach. And then after that, so it's the psychological benefit of getting to run a little bit faster and getting to have that feeling. And it can be really important. It physiologically, it serves some purposes. It lays the groundwork for more faster later. It is not so critical to development that you are throwing your money away any day you decide you just don't have it in you and you don't feel it. There is no thing so important in any of my plans that if you don't do it, you might as well have stayed in bed. Okay. So if you're looking at this through a binary, like do it all or do nothing, all that type of, if you're treating it like a toggle, like an on-off switch, you're looking at it incorrectly. Your Batna, every day, the best alternative to a negotiating agreement, the best alternative to doing exactly what's written will always be 30 to 60 minutes of easy effort, defined as keeping your heart rate under 140. Do not care how far under 140. It doesn't matter. All I care is that it is, in fact, under 140. I don't care if it's 138 or 108. Whatever feels good to you that day, you're getting whatever you need to get. I have not yet had anyone tell me that they need a floor because they're just cruising along at 88. I'm sure that can happen. I'm sure it does happen, but that level, if you're cringing right now, please do that. The level of fitness required to be able to run at 88 beats per minute, generally speaking, is in the Olympics, and they're not training with me. And that's okay. That's not better. It's just, it's an empty tube of toothpaste. So is it okay? Absolutely. I do not care if you run your Batna workout, avocado toast. It's not sexy. You might not necessarily want to take pictures of it and put it on Instagram, but it's going to get you what you need in one shot. So, and that's 30 to 60 minutes of easy effort running, defined as under 140. And you can do that 6 days a week and do just fine. Okay. I will never be mad at you for that. I don't feel like doing what's written. I got avocado toast. I'm going to do avocado toast. It's fine. You can choose avocado toast every single day, and no one's going to be mad at you for walking out of that negotiation saying no. Cool. So there you go. Thrown into business terms. That's how I feel about that. Next question. Do I have to push myself to get my heart rate up to 150 in avocado toast, or can I go easier? I will never ask y'all to push yourselves. Like, that is the opposite of what I do. My whole shtick, if you had to reduce my philosophy to a shtick, would be that, y'all are like racehorses that need to be pulled back in. Like, you need to work less hard more frequently. You need the answer to what do I need to get to where I want to go? You need to do a little bit less of all the stuff that you're doing. If you think that you need just a little more like willpower or mental fitness or mental toughness, or if there's something that you lack, I promise you're looking at yourself incorrectly. In avocado toast, I give you guys, and this is a secret's about to be spilled, y'all have a higher heart rate cap in rebuild. There, I said it. Because like I said, y'all doing the hardest work of anyone out here. When you're doing something that feels familiar in a body that does not feel familiar, it can be demoralizing. It can hurt your feelings. Psychologically, I need your head in the game for the long term, and that is not going to happen if you're walking all your runs. The other reason that I give you a triple decker stride sandwich for a lot of people in rebuild, they're not jogging yet. They're walking still. And it's going to take time. So those strides thrown into a stride sandwich, give them the opportunity to run. And it might be the only opportunity that they have to move their legs at a pace level that they consider tantamount to running all week long. And so that can be really important. So that's another benefit. So do I need you to get your heart rate up? You will never hear me tell you get your heart rate up. Ever, ever, ever. You can always go easier. Yes, you can. It is fine with me. And I know that sounds odd and awkward. People expect you to be like cracking the whip. I'm here for accountability. Beat me up, coach. Like, no, that's weird. That makes me feel weird. Just talking in those terms. I'm not a dominatrix. I'm a run coach. I'm not a life coach. I'm definitely not a dominatrix. Like everything in our culture is saying, just do it. Just do more of it. Go hard or go home, which makes me wonder what they have at home that's so bad that they would rather go hard. People are like, when I'm posited with like, show me what you're made of, go hard or go home. I'm like, home's great. See you there. Even with the crap coming out the ceiling and on the floors, my kids are fun. My husband's great. I mean, it takes something compelling to get me out of the house when all of them are home. So all that just to say, you don't ever need to go harder. I want you to go have a really good time, get a little me time, get a little self-care, and then absolutely go home. Next question. If I notice I sickle my feet during normal life, do I just fix it as I notice it, or do I need to do something more to correct it? Awesome. I notice it when standing at work or when I'm in my kitchen. Do I need to always correct my feet so their toes forward too? It's a good habit to get into. When sickling your feet is going to hyperextend the ligaments in your ankle. That, by definition, will decrease the ankle stability required to run efficiently. It will impact your running economy in a negative fashion. So, if running is your primary thing, then yes, we would need to just be aware of it. It's like with my kids, when they sit in that W style with their feet back and their crotch out, like sitting like a big letter M. We've been told, oh no, when you see that, correct them, crisscross applesauce. This is, physiologically the better way to sit. And I feel so stupid saying that all over my house, but I say it multiple times a day to at least two of my children. That is important enough to correct. And again, just a little bit of consciousness goes a really long way. We really need to get into the same habit of doing that with our feet. If ever you do Pilates, and Pilates was there to correct form, bring it all back to bring it in line to make you functional again, then each time you do Pilates, they're going to have you doing a lot of the same dance positions that you might have done in the past, with the aim of doing it with stronger ankles and a properly functioning posterior and anterior chain. So if you're sickling your feet, you are impacting the FC of your posterior and anterior chains. Just be cognizant and hear my voice in the back of your head saying, crisscross applesauce, and stop doing that. Because if you don't do it now, it's something you're going to have to pay someone to help you correct later. Because form is a function of strength. Let's build strength now and work on back into better habits and better function, rather than having to go to PT or even worse, like straight out like physical rehab later. And yes, there is a difference between PT and rehab. Let me tell you, I've had to be through both. It's terrible. So those are all the questions that I have in rebuild. Moving over to maintain. Hello, Coach MK and Coach Sarah. Sorry, you just get Coach MK this week. Coach Sarah is somewhere in the mountains watching Moana, eating ice cream, and not paying attention to any of us. Just kidding. That's what you're supposed to be doing, Sarah. There's no guilt trip there. If you're paying attention, why? I have long run questions. Yay! I have a work obligation in 2 weeks that will mean standing on my feet all day for 3 days, late nights, and lots of walking. Sounds like an expo. Well, I think I can get where you're going to Disney World, and then I want to know how in the world you got that as a work function. Well, I think I can get a couple hours in for a run. It would be very hard for me to get in my scheduled long run in one go. That would be a 16 mile, 3 hour and 15 minute run on week 4 of the marathon ramp. So should I break it up over 2 days? I'm thinking no, or postpone until Monday when I'm back home and then shift that week's schedule a bit. If shifting run to Monday after the run is a better option, which run should I move or eliminate that week to get back? Honestly, when it comes to this, I don't like treating training plans like a game of Jenga. Like, if this goes here and this goes here, does it all fall apart? It doesn't all fall apart. It really doesn't. If you've been here, and I'm pretty sure I know who asked this question, if you've been here for a while and you have doing everything I tell you to do, and you have the way I recommend you do it, and you're going to be fine. I never advise skipping the long run completely. If you are in this situation, the next best thing to do is to try to cut it in half and do at least half in the morning and then at least a quarter in the evening. So if it was possible to do 8 miles in the morning and then come back later that evening and do the remaining 8 miles, or the very least doing a remaining 4 miles, that is the next best thing. But it doesn't sound like that's what you're going to be doing. And being on your feet all day for 3 days, you don't need to be showing up stressed out. You need to be there, present at work, being a boss there. If it is possible and it's okay with you, then yeah, I say, you know what? Do what you can while you're there. Do not worry about what you missed. The best thing you can do any day, your Batna, is avocado toast, 30 to 60 minutes of easy effort running whenever you can do it. Steal that when you can. Do not worry about making up runs because we do not do that here. On that Monday, if you can do the long run, then yes, do the long run. And then take Tuesday off, back on the schedule as written from Wednesday henceforth. So again, to be really clear, avocado toast as you can, or whatever you can do during this conference. Long run on Monday, day off on Tuesday, back to the plan as written on Wednesday. That's what I would do. There is no good will come from making the schedule more complicated than that. And whatever it is you're doing, and now that I think I know who this is and what you do for a living is super duper fun, I kind of want to hear about it. I kind of demand to hear about it. I want to know what fun thing your expo you would be going to for your employer, which by the way is Harley Davidson. I want to know what Harley Davidson has you doing that would be fun and have you on your feet for 3 days in Europe. Amazing. Anyway, there's that. Next question. No question, really. Just looking forward to hearing Coach's perspective on the EAT. Funny enough, you're going to get a whole podcast about that later this week. Coach Sarah and I recorded it on Friday. And part of the reason I was late tonight was, yes, everything in the world was going wrong over here, but also I was having a very long conversation with our wayfinder. And if you don't know what a wayfinder is, I did not either. And I just thank God for him. A wayfinder is an information artist, a specialist at designing information and laying it out in a clean, easy to understand and concise manner. It's so they go to school for something similar to graphic design and bridge that gap between making something pretty and making something totally accessible to all and understandable to all as well. And so she is hard at work right now on a new presentation of the EAT that I think you guys are really going to like. I'm excited about it. I'll share it as soon as it's ready. And we were hoping to roll that out and make it a download available in the podcast show notes. And when we release the EAT podcast, that remains to be seen, though. Fingers crossed that she's able to finish that by Thursday. So if you want to hear perspective on the EAT, there will be a big, long one coming and a new way of looking at it later this week. Go ahead and subscribe to Fitness Protection, the podcast, Running Life in iTunes or your favorite podcast player if you have not done so already. Back to the question. It's always a good feeling when the EAT is done, no matter the outcome. Since my heart rate is on the low end, 170, that remained quite consistent in the last 2 segments. But what made me happy, my pace the last 2K remained very steady also. And even though I wanted to die, I hung on and kept telling myself it would be over soon. Don't stop now. Don't stop now. I embraced the suck, as you say. Anyhow, my segments went like this. So 825 pace, heart rate average 155. Second 2K, 815, heart rate average 167. Last 2K, 819. Max 171. It wasn't easy, but I sure feel good about this workout. But then again, no matter how it goes, it's one of those workouts you just feel good about getting it done. Thanks for any feedback you have in advance. Okay, so my first piece of feedback on that is it's summer and it's hot. So your C portion, ideally, that third portion would ideally always be the fastest portion. So the fact that it was a little bit slower, you held on for a really long time. I would wonder, though, if we'd gone a little bit easier in the A portion, how that would have informed the rest of the workout. So it doesn't mean you did it badly or incorrectly. I know how hard you push yourself. I really do. It's one of the reasons why I love you, but it's also one of the reasons why you tend to feel so disappointed in everything you do rather than seeing the incredible badassery and the beauty that the rest of us do. Just about everyone in this program is in total awe of everything you do. And it breaks my heart a little bit that you don't see that same thing when you do these workouts, when you look at your Strava, when you look at your training peaks, when you look at yourself. You have everything in the world going for you. You've come such a long way since we started working together. And there is no data point that can capture the growth you have experienced since we've been here or the shit you've had to manage simultaneously through it all. With that in mind, I like this. I'm proud of this, and I'm proud of you. The thing I want you to remember going into the marathon, if you are in a marathon ramp, and I'm guessing you are because you're always in a marathon ramp, I say that lovingly. The thing I want you to remember is that go back and look at your first EAT, the very first one you did with me. This is an exercise I made Coach Sarah do when we filmed the podcast. Go back and look at the very first one you did with me. You should be able to find it in your Training Peaks, and compare the pace and the heart rate and the control you had segment by segment as you went. Ideally, and I know if you're listening to this as a podcast later, if we can convert this file into a podcast later, you can't see what I'm doing with my fingers right now, but ideally it's a stair step. So you go from jogging, pick up your pace, A segment, pick up the pace, B segment, pick up the pace, C segment, back down to a jog. And it's a really neat thing. And it takes 3 or 4 of these, by the way, to nail that. Cause my whole shtick is to teach everyone, you don't know what an easy effort feels like. You don't know what that is. You've never been allowed to do it. I'm going to force you to do it here. We're going to cap your effort. We're going to cap your pace. We're going to bring it all in. And then once I've made you really, 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 really familiar with easy effort and giving you permission to do it and taking away the guilt associated with not going hard all the time, that's when we start reintroducing different shades of hard so that you have a good grasp of different effort levels and how long those efforts are sustainable. It's not that you will ever be able to hold on to your 5K pace as long as you can hold on to your 10K pace. By definition, if you can hold on to both for the same duration, then your 5K pace is actually faster than what you think it is. So to that end, go back. People think they need more mental fitness to hold on longer. And I'm like, no, you need to slow everything else down and you'll be able to hold on longer. So I would tell you to go back. If you really need to see progress, there's plenty in your Training Peaks. You've got all these years worth of data. Go back and take a look. Click the analyze button, take a screenshot, set that aside of your most recent EAT. Go back to the first EAT you did or the most recent EAT before this one that you performed. Click the analyze button and take a look at the screenshot, the visual representation of your pace and your heart rate over the time and distance on the x-axis, and see if you don't see incredible improvement. What you did the first time probably, looked like fire with the jagged ups and downs. And what you did this most recent time definitely looked more like a stair step. So don't worry about what this is or what this means or what this says about you, because it tells me nothing about you. The best parts of you will never be contained by a single data point. It will never be triangulated between multiple data points. It's not something we have to look for because it shines through everything you do. It really, really does. Don't try to treat this like the Macmillan calculator and reduce all the science that amazing man put together. And all anyone wants is like predict the future. You treat him like a magic 8-ball. Not you specifically. Most people do. There's so much more to Macmillan's work than predicting an outcome. There's so much more to the EAT than predicting an outcome. And there's so much more to you and so much more that you bring to the table than what's going to happen on race day. And I say this not as a long way of circumventing your original question of is race day going to be good? I don't know, man. I can't promise you anything, but I can tell you this. If it isn't good, it's not because of anything you did incorrectly, anything you deserve, or anything that you need to stop. The only thing you need to stop doing is worrying too much. I really, really, really wish just for once you look in the mirror and see what it is that I see when I look at you and I think of you when I talk to you. I'm 90% sure this is the person that sent me, because no one ever puts their names in the questions. But I'm 90% sure this is the person that listens to everything I say so closely. She remembered that I am obsessed with, I still have the wrapping paper you used with rainbow polka dots, the rainbow polka dot wrapping paper you had to go out and find, because who the F has that? I've never even seen it anywhere, but you found it and you wrapped a gift for me when I was sick and mailed it to my house in that paper. And that was a throwaway comment I made somewhere, either in a live stream. It was definitely not printed anywhere. I still have yet to figure out where you pulled that information, but it shows me how closely you pay attention, not just to what I do, but to what you do. So here, if you pay that much attention, you're listening that closely, hear me now. You are amazing. I am proud of you. That EAT is fantastic, but I didn't need to see those numbers to know that. I don't need to hear anything to know that, because I know you and I know the effort you put into everything you do. And I really hope that race day is going to be a showcase race. It's going to be a DJ day, and you're going to get everything that you put into it. That is going to come back to you in spades on that day. But Uranus is in retrograde, and I frankly don't trust anything right now. I hope you have much better luck than I've been having. And if you don't get it, it's not because you don't deserve it. That's a bullshit stick. Don't you dare beat the thing I love most with the bullshit stick. And I absolutely adore you. Yay. That said, I have a feeling the text that just came through to my phone is telling me that my plans for after this are canceled. So rather than run, I'm going to take to my inbox. Yay! By the way, if anyone has sent me an email and I have not come back to you, it's not that I love you less. It's not that I don't love you. It's that my email inbox is a scary place to be. Y'all send really beautiful, thoughtful, long emails, and I don't always have time to sit down and give you the response that you deserve, or sometimes it might be 2 or 3 weeks until I'm able to sit down and truly give you the response that you deserve. But I would rather have you wait and worry than have you get a one-line answer that is less than what you deserve, because that hurts more in my experience. And if I made the wrong choice, I'm sorry, but that unfortunately is how I have to operate. So Coach and Coach Sarah, I don't truly understand what my running ability and strengths are at this moment. Could you shed some light on this for me? I'm aware of these points. Consistent at running 5 days a week. Definitely not a perfectionist. Consistency comes from being tethered to you in this group and having written on my calendar each day so other things don't take its space. That is a big deal, by the way. You wouldn't believe how many people don't put their workouts in their calendar. If you have premium training peaks, I think you can actually import all of your workouts each month into your Google Calendar. So physically creating a space in your calendar is a really great way to make sure things get done. Not because you need accountability, but because we literally need to make space for these things in our lives. That's something that I do. It's actually a spot in my calendar, and I make sure nothing ever takes it away. So you're not less than for needing that. You might just be as awesome as I am. So second bullet, average 25 miles a week, which means 100 miles a month. I've been doing this all of 2019, and it feels good, not overtaxing or tiring. Perfect. Bullet 3, my easy effort is getting a little bit faster. And finally, I'm getting 3 or 4 strength circuits completed each week. My wins are I wasn't doing this last year. I didn't have this capability. Huge wins all around. I'm not looking for light on wins in other areas. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I'm good. I simply don't understand what I can do when it comes to running. I.e., yeah, you could run the distance of a half marathon this weekend if you wanted to. Yep, your tendons and ligaments are strong as fuck. Yep, your ankles and feet are. Boy, this sounds more confusing written out than what was in my head. I don't know what I don't know. So what I don't know about my running capability, what is it that I don't know about my running / capability physically right now? So I've said this before. I used to say this a lot more frequently to my lifetime clients than I did to my AMR clients. And that was, when it comes to muscles, your muscles, they have memory. They also get direct blood flow, fresh oxygen. They can repair themselves. They have nerve endings and will let you know when they want to move or when they need to stop. Your muscles have a lot more voice and a lot more say over what goes on than your tendons, joints, and ligaments do. And they will often not tell you that anything's wrong because they don't have a voice. They don't have nerve endings. They don't get direct blood flow. They cannot repair themselves. A surgeon has to do that. So when they're in trouble, you don't really know it until you are, in fact, injured. Or if you're not taking the signs from your muscles that are there to protect your ligaments, you're going to run into injury really quickly. So the first thing that I would say when it comes to how have I improved, what am I capable of? What do you want to be capable of? What do you want to find out? Why not test it? There's something to be said for just showing up and seeing what happens. Because the other thing that I am all about doing is teaching people, specifically people like me or people with less privilege than I have, what they're made of. And here's what I mean by that. Think about the previous roles that you had, where you worked, what was expected of you. Were you ever in a position where you could say, that isn't fair and I need backup? And if you did people do it, or were you a whiner? Where if you were asked to carry a really heavy load, one that was just proportionately ridiculous, were you able to call BS on it? Did you have the backup necessary? If you needed to go to the bathroom, did you feel like you could, in fact, go to the bathroom and not be penalized for it or treated like a girl? You'd be surprised. I really have, a little tiny bladder, or having to excuse it. And you wouldn't believe the things I've seen or heard in boardrooms over the course of my existence. And it's been reductive and disgusting and, just what in the world? When we talk about running by feel, we are completely ignoring the fact that a huge swathe of this population, the vast majority of the population, has been told to stay as disconnected from any signals their body might be sending as humanly possible in order to not just succeed, but to stay at the table, to keep their job, to not be seen as less than, to be worthy of the space that they take up. So it is no wonder your sense is busted. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means that there's something very wrong with the forces that have told you to tune out and then turned around and said, well, you should be able to feel it, with no regard to the psychological underpinnings of what it is you're able to feel and when you're able to say, yeah, I could go harder. Yeah, I don't think I need to. You know what? I think I need to stop. Because validation is a big deal. And those times that you did stop, even though you knew it was smart, you then had to convince someone else that it was in fact smart and that you are not in fact weak, that this is in fact a problem that you are trying to nip in the bud before it escalates. I know I'm a loud-mouthed, strong-willed, I think that's the euphemism I'm supposed to use. I'm a strong-willed, stubborn woman that will not act against my own best interests for very long. If I see that there's no carrot around, or that carrot is never actually going to be in my hands, I'll stop playing. So if I have found myself in these situations in the past where I had to explain that I needed to go to the bathroom, or I had to defend my decision to stop to people that didn't understand it, when I had to say, no, I promise I didn't get out of bed because I couldn't and I didn't enjoy it. If I, of all people, am not being heard when I express myself very clearly, what chance did you have? My point is this. If you're paying attention to your body right now, that's something you've probably not ever really been allowed to do. That is a huge win. If you're tuning into its signals and letting it guide you, that is a huge win. That is something that we need to come to. If you feel permission to go out and run easy effort every day and there's no guilt involved, knowing you could go harder, maybe you should. That is a huge win. That is 50 plus years of psychological, sociological abuse and conditioning that is falling to the wayside every time you put your shoes on. And I do not ever want any of you to discount the importance of that. It's hard for me to do. It's taken 20 years of therapy to get here. It's taken 20 years of therapy to be good with advocating for myself, knowing that I still have to be married to someone with more privilege than me in order to really get what I deserve in this world, to be able to navigate it safely, to be able to advocate for my children and get what they need safely. He will always be able to do things that I will not be allowed to do or be rewarded for doing. And I hate it and it's not fair. But that's where we are. And if you're able to look past all that and reclaim your space and reclaim your time and not have to explain to anyone that I'm not really fast, but I still do it, as though performance is the only reason you could do anything, as though, you could be doing something more productive with your time. If you've not had to defend that space, if you just create it and take it, that is a huge win. Don't ever discount it. What most of us need is not accountability. It's a safe space to do this thing in. It's the ability to move through this world and not have to defend what we're doing. It's the ability to say no to other things and F you to the pressures that would come in and take that time from our calendar in the name of productivity. What is that anyway? I think the most productive thing you could possibly do is self-care, not just because it makes you rested so you can do more work, but because it makes this life worth living. If you can hear your soul sing when you're out there, if the crunch of the gravel beneath your feet and the sun coming up is something so innately cool and beautiful like I got to experience this morning, that is what this is all about. And you are never going to get that from a finish time or from anything. It's the ability to get out of bed and do this again the next day because it made you feel good, because you have a habit that makes you feel good, because you're tuning into what your body can do and it makes you feel good, because you're able to, with a straight face, come to me and ask, what can I do? I haven't tested it yet, but I think I might be ready. That with no fear and no concern That is so beautiful. Don't discount that. Not now, not ever. That is huge. With this email, you reaffirmed everything that it is that I'm trying to do here with fitness protection. I want everyone to feel this way. I want everyone to come to me with these questions. I want everyone to have as pure a spirit as you do right now when you ask me, what can I do? I hope that this has shown you some of the strengths that you feel. And I hope someday I'll be able to feel this way, to feel as good as you do, to feel as free as you do. I couldn't be prouder of you. I could not be prouder to coach and love you. I love having your example in all of the Facebook groups. I love hearing your voice each day in that not accountability thread, the support thread, the check-in thread, the place we share and we say, this is what my run was like. I love seeing your contributions and your responses to other people. When it comes to a physical capability, I have no idea. Let's find out. Think about what you want to do, what kind of a thing you would enjoy, and then let's go test it. I'd love to see what you're made of. You have no idea what you're capable of, and there's nothing, even if I was connected to you in Training Peaks, that would predict that. The question is really, what do you want to do? And yeah, you've been doing this so long. Your joints are so well adapted to this. Your consistency is so strong. You have all the elements you need to then turn around and not just do something, but crush something. People come to me so frequently with something to prove, thinking a finish time is going to put that demon to rest inside them. They don't have this true curiosity, this interest in seeing, what do I have? It's fear. It's tinged with fear. What if I don't have it? If I don't have it, can you make sure that I have it on the insurance policy just in case they don't, in fact, have it? This thing they can't quite describe. And that's not what you're asking me right now. And I love that. I love that. So yeah, you don't know what you're made of either. Think about something that sounds fun to train for, a place you'd like to be, where the finish line, when you cross it, won't define the experience. And then let's go see what you got. Whatever you're thinking right now, I promise you, it's way more than that. All right. See, that's why I don't have time to write email, man. I couldn't put all that into a response. And there would be so many exclamation points that you wouldn't take anything I said seriously anyway, right? Right. Whee! Adrian Holmes, you won the gift card and have not mailed it to you yet. And I'm really sorry. Also, my friend Corbin, she's still waiting for the gift I was supposed to mail her in March. It is still in my living room. I have a mental block when it comes to mailing things, you guys. I don't know why I offer these things. If worst comes to worst, I'll just Venmo you the cash. Sorry, Adrian. I know there was another one and I can't find it. Of course, that was going to happen. It's been that kind of week. Been that kind of day. Oh, well, it's gone now, but we're at almost an hour. Sorry, this week is a little bit short. I hope it was equally sweet. You're coached. You are loved. God, I love you guys. And if you don't have head lice and you don't have remodeling or lead paint in your floor or newspaper stuck to it that your kid's trying to eat with while asbestos crumbles out of the ceiling with the holes that have been appearing in it, then I swear, yay you in fact are winning at life. Have a great week. Don't forget to subscribe to Fitness Protection, the podcast, and then you will hear later this week the new EAT podcast that I got to record with Coach Sarah before she went on vacation. And you will also hopefully very soon be able to download some new worksheets that will allow you to see this workout in a brand new way. And hopefully you see what it is I want you to see. And just like I hope someday you'll look in the mirror and see what it is I want you to see. The same thing that I see. That in mind, good night.